Welcome to Safe and Sound, sponsored by White Mountain Fire and Life Safety and Ladies Day LLC. Today on the show we have Kirk Webb, the Fire Marshal for Lakeside Fire Department, and Tony Garver, the Lieutenant for Navajo County Sheriff's Office. Welcome, guys.
Thanks. How are you?
Good afternoon. Very good, very good. Well, in case there's people out there that don't know who you guys are, do you want to give us a little quick background? Tony, we'll start with you.
Like you said, I'm Tony Garver. I'm a lieutenant with the Sheriff's Office, Navajo County. I was born and raised in the area and have been in law enforcement for many, many years here.
Perfect. And you?
Yeah, I was also born and raised in the area and been with the fire department since the early 90s. Went full-time 2000, been the fire marshal, our first fire marshal at Lakeside since 2008. So like being able to get out there and help our community and educate our community and do the best we can to help keep people safe. And we have a really good working relationship with our sheriff's department, police departments, fire departments, all that. So.
Good. Well, that's perfect. You bring up educating the community, and that's what we're going to do today. We are going to talk about fireworks and how wonderful they are, and especially in the mountain where we're usually always in restrictions.
When they're used properly,
yes,
they're beautiful.
Yeah. And a lot of fun. Or you can just go watch them being done.
And it's not like we're trying to tell people to not use them ever, but we need to be able to, one, use what's legal, because there's certain types that are legal in Arizona and there's other types that are not, and use them safely, use them wisely. And there's some areas that, you know, if you don't know exactly whether you live in the city or a town or the county area, you probably need to find that out, because there's certain restrictions for different areas. So for example, in the city of Show Low and the town of Pinetop Lakeside, the way the state wrote the fireworks law, when they allowed fireworks to be started used again in Arizona, they allowed the cities and towns the ability to ban the use of fireworks. Now those cities and towns cannot ban the sale, so anybody can come in and set up a shop and sell fireworks within the city, counties, towns, doesn't matter where, but the cities and towns can ban the use. Now the county, they can't stop the sale here again, but they can stop the use during certain times of restriction, whenever there's fire restrictions. So as long as we're not in fire restrictions, like stage 1 restrictions, stage 2 restrictions, or it's a red flag day, then it's okay to use certain types of fireworks within the county areas.
Why would anybody buy fireworks up here? I mean, during those conditions and seeing these signs, that's what always baffles me.
It's America's birthday. Everybody wants to celebrate birthdays.
Yeah, well, that's true, but where are they going to use it?
Well, a lot of folks that come up to visit come up out of the valley, and there's a lot of concrete and stuff down there, so they sometimes don't think about where they are when they're using it. When you live in a big city and there's a lot of concrete around you, there's not a lot of forest, wildland, or things that can burn up, you know, they say, yeah, that'd be pretty safe to use. What we would like to get out through this session is say, when you come up, you gotta respect what you're coming to, and respect it enough to where we don't lose it in the long run.
Absolutely.
So it's important.
And fireworks are no-go anywhere in stage 1, stage 2.
Red flag days.
And red flag days. Absolutely not. Now, if we get, and now if we're not in stage 1 or in stage 2, it depends on the city ordinance and it depends on the county ordinance, correct?
Right, which the cities and towns, they've actually banned all use, period. So it doesn't matter what time of year, 365 days a year, it's never okay to set off fireworks within the city or town limits.
Right, and with that, it might be legal in a state of Arizona, as they did pass it a while back, where you can purchase a certain type of firework, and you can, but you still have to follow the ordinances from the cities and the towns and that of the unincorporated areas of the county.
Okay, and then so again, if there's no stage 1 or stage 2 restrictions, you still have to watch out for those red flag days.
Yes.
And knowing that. Now, earlier, previous to the show, you had talked about the states and federal lands.
Correct. Forest Service, state lands, all those areas like that, it's never okay here again to ever use fireworks, period. You can't sell it out there, you can't buy it out there, you can't play with them out there, set them off or anything like that, because that's federally regulated at that point. And they have their own law enforcement people that, and even the sheriff's department is able to go on federal and state lands, and they will cite and give you the fines that go along with that. Be able to give you the ticket that gives you the day to go talk to the judge.
Now, and with that ticket, they go and speak to the judge. The judge is the one that imposes?
Yes, basically how that works is if you're in violation of the fireworks ordinance that we have in Navajo County, you'll be given a ticket. It's a Class 3 misdemeanor, so you can either be physically arrested and taken in front of the judge, or we can cite and release you. Either way, you've been technically arrested. You have to see the judge, and at that time, you get to plead guilty or not guilty. The county attorney will be there because it is a misdemeanor, Class 3 misdemeanor. You have your due process rights, and then pretty much the judge will then set the fine for you.
Now, Class 3 misdemeanors, is that something that stays on your record or anything, or?
It could possibly. It is a crime. It's a criminal act.
Wow.
So it's not civil. If you are found guilty, it will be on your record.
And they do keep track of things like that, so if you become a repeat offender,
Habitual offender.
that fine is probably going to increase. The amount of time that you may have to do community service, or even possible jail time, that's going to be at the discretion of the judge. And most of our judges up here are pretty willing to. Yeah, exactly. They don't want to see our place burn up because of a fireworks.
We've had enough of that, and I know that this year there's been so many human-caused fires, from cigarettes to chains on the back of people's trailers to people just being idiots and campfires.
Well, even that, just the campfires. I mean, we have posted everywhere. There's no campfires, no charcoal, no campfires. And in the county themselves, I can say we've probably issued 20 citations
So far.
for violation of the fire ban.
So we're in an age now where it's like enough's enough. You guys will be fined. People, if you're not respectful of the community that you are visiting or that you live in, you will have to own up to.
Well, and it's interesting. There's technology and inventions and things like that. We were out at one of the campgrounds here earlier, and they are renting a pretty cool little propane-powered device that looks just like a little campfire. And it's perfectly safe, and we approve it to be used. And because you can has flames that pop up and has these little fake logs, and it looks like a campfire. And the thing that's really cool is there's no smoke.
There's no smoke.
No smoke. So you know how smoke follows beauty, or whoever.
I know. I hate it.
And so there's none of that. It's great. And the thing that's really nice is it's safe because you can actually shut it off. If something were to happen right away, you can actually shut that down, and now that fire danger is gone. That's why we allow propane-powered devices. Grills, and a propane-powered grill rather than charcoal or wood, because you can't immediately shut the fire off with wood or charcoal. It's going to stay in embers, and there you have something, that residual heat that stays within that coal for quite a long time, which then can spark a fire. Which that's how the Wallow fire was started. Little coals from a leftover campfire they thought they put out, but wasn't quite extinguished.
So that little propane thing is going to bring back s'mores. That's
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's awesome. So now with that, and when we are in restrictions, we have to basically, it's like walking on eggshells up here. I mean, you think fire and it will happen. Again, we've had so many fires this year. I think what we're in, like, I want to say 450 or 500 human-caused fires just this year.
And that's, and that's going to be our relatively, the numbers of human-caused fires are always outweigh the number caused by lightning or other things like
44
that.
lightning strikes is the last thing I read
Yeah.
a couple weeks ago, compared to 500, and then you add fireworks on top of that, and you sell them, but you can't use them. So that's like waving a T-bone steak in front of a dog in a way, right?
Right. And, and sometimes, it's sad to say that, because usually when fireworks are being used, well, maybe there's amount of alcohol and partying and other things, and are people really making wise choices when they're doing these types of activities? So, like I said, we're not trying to stop people from having fun. It may seem like that, but that's not the case at all. It's like, same thing with driving a car. People that are typically involved in crashes, they've made a wrong choice and an unwise choice and has caused a crash or something like that. It's easy to have something go drastically wrong with fireworks, because especially the ones that are illegal to purchase in Arizona, illegal to bring to Arizona, are your aerial display fireworks, because those you have absolutely no control over. The ones that are legal to purchase in Arizona and are considered the non-aerial consumer fireworks. Now they may look and they actually have an appearance of shooting up into the sky, but the height that they shoot up is about 15 to 25 feet maybe, or same thing out. Well, and that's where, if you read the instructions before you use these, it actually tells you, be sure to be in an area usually at least 50 foot clear of any kind of combustibles, 50 feet in all directions, because then now that puts you out beyond that area of danger that something could catch on fire.
Even when they do the fireworks show here at the high school, or even in Heber when we have our 4th of July fireworks over there, their stage is set up pretty much the same way. They have to have the same requirements, the safe area, the safe zones where it's going to fall. Has to be safe, or even they can't.
And then they have the
them
fire chasers, the tenders waiting on the side.
One of the things that, in fact, they're in the process of, before they actually have that show, they start about a week or 2 weeks ahead of time, and they figure out what would be the worst case scenario with, say, if the winds, at what wind speed do we stop the fireworks, and then at that certain wind speed that we can still allow them to go, what's the furthest an ember might carry, and then we go out beyond that area another couple of 100 feet or so, and we mow the grasses in that area, we wet it down prior to, we're taking all kinds of precautions, and then on top of that we actually have several crews staffed in our Type 6 engine, which is a little pickup with the water tank and whatnot, and they're patrolling all of those areas, and then we patrol it for about an hour or more after the actual show. So, and I've been reading in the newspaper, well, I hope they don't even have fireworks this year, and people don't realize the extent of safety that we take, and because we don't want to burn up anything, and it's any of the activities that I do as a fire marshal, I always, to judge whether I'm going to do this or not, I ask, okay, does it pass the headline test? Is it going to be, okay, local fire marshal burns down local school? If that's what's going to be in the headline, then I don't do that activity, So it's always, and we're always very cognizant of the possibility that something can go wrong.
And with that, not only that a fire can start, but the injuries that come with it, if you are not smart enough to understand how these things work. I mean, you could burn up a whole place, you could burn up things, but you can also lose fingers, hands, eyes, or death. So it's important across the board to understand what these fireworks can do, and the amount of damage that can be caused by them.
And that's why the guys that light them off, the fire departments, and the men and women, are the only ones they use are the ones that have been taking the course and they're certified in pyrotechnics to be able to do it, because they're hand lighting these.
And we even take out special insurance for that day when we're setting the fireworks off, just for that event. Just in the case of something else may go wrong, because there's always is that possibility.
Oh, always.
but we're very diligent in making sure that we mitigate every problem that possibly could happen.
So all that effort and everything's going into trying to be able to give this firework display for the 4th of July, and so that the people coming up have a show to see and they look forward to this. It brings money into the community. All that effort to do that, and then you got Joe Schmo over there that just buys a firework and lights it and doesn't have any effort other than a match and a firework, and could cause a fire, and he doesn't have any pyrotechnic training or anything.
Yeah, and one of the things that, because invariably we're going to have people that are going out there and going to be doing it. And even though if we're still in restrictions, it's going to be illegal to have done it, and you could be fined. Even us as the fire district, the city, they actually apply for a special use permit that goes before the county board of supervisors, and same thing with the Heber fireworks shows, and all these things are very highly regulated and looked at, and they understand, and they spend a lot of time drawing up a plan to be able to, this is how things are going to work, this is what we're using, all of that stuff, and there's a lot of effort that goes into making sure that this is going to be safe and enjoyable for everybody to still be able to enjoy.
Well, I know that the 4th of July fireworks has been canceled that I can remember one time.
Yes.
Like 3 years back, was it?
No, it's been a little further back.
Was it longer than that?
Yeah.
But we definitely will cancel the show if conditions exceed what we feel comfortable with, and we're not opposed to doing that, because we're not going to put people or ourselves, our own people, and the community at risk.
And I do want to bring that up, because when I was at the fire department, 4th of July wasn't my favorite because that's why we're getting ready and we're planning for this firework display, and then we're doing the parade and everything that you have your whole family up here and you can't be with them because you're setting all this stuff up for the whole weekend, and that's always hard. But the other thing that drove me crazy were the phone calls we got at the fire department. I'm sure the sheriff's office is the same. Are we having fireworks? Are we having fireworks? Are the fireworks going to happen? Because it's always, never fails, it's always that week before where we're still in restrictions and it's still really not looking good, and then we might get some rain or we might not. And one thing that I did one of the years was people would call the fire department all the time, and I probably shouldn't share this, but I'm not a firefighter anymore, so I can share it. And so they just kept asking the same question, the fireworks. So I did a recording on my phone. You've reached Shoalo Fire Department for we are having fireworks display. And when there it says press 1 if you'd like to talk to a representative from the fire department. No one would ever press 1 because they just wanted to know that information. Right. So every time the phone would ring, I go, click, click, and hold it to the phone, and I wait to hear from one, and I didn't have to keep saying it over and over and over. It actually was really nice.
Well, in Heber, in the past, it's been always is the Forest Service going to close the forest down? And we understand that the livelihoods are the visitors that come up. We depend on that, and that is a very busy time. And when I go to the community meetings over there in Heber, we explain to them, look, we're not going to be in the forefront of this event. We want to be behind it. We want to make sure that all of those who come to visit are going to have a good time, that they're safe, and that they do respect the area they're coming to, and that these are what we're going to enforce, and if we have to come out and enforce this, then we will. So I can say that with the closings of some of the forest now, the Heber area, the forest has not closed. Even if it does get to that point, the Chamber of Commerce over there has obtained a special use permit, as we've talked about, to go ahead and have those fireworks done. But a lot of that goes into, like Kurt was saying, maps of the area, the fallout zones. All of that has to be looked at prior to the fireworks even being set off. And if it's not safe, then obviously they're not going to have it. And in the county, it is, the sheriff has a designated deputy who's gone through that pyrotechnic training, who's certified in that and will be there to supervise all of that going off. So pretty much we've kind of got away from, it's not a good idea to have fireworks, to where we've made it a lot safer. We're more aware, and therefore the shows can go off. Now obviously there's going to be those times that it's just not going to happen. Mm-hmm. But because they're going to have the fireworks, whether it's the city of Shoalo, Holbrook, Heber, does not mean that an individual should just go out there and light some of these fireworks, because they do not take in the precautions that is necessary to keep a wildfire from happening. And I'll talk about the wildfires because it's in the county. Kurt, being up in Lakeside and Pine Top, yes, we have a lot of that area too, and the city of Show Low does, but it's really important that even, the campers, and they might see this, they might not, but they need to be smart when they go out there. And just because you're here to enjoy the weekend like everybody else, it is very stressful on the first responders and us that are working that.
Now, talking about like when there's forest closures and the fireworks, or if the fireworks are going to happen or not, is there an easier way to get this information than overloading the fire departments, the sheriff's office, the police departments with phone calls?
Well, we've discussed 311 in the past, the websites. I don't know, do you guys have?
I think most of our, the districts have a Facebook account, so you can look on there. A lot of if you know any of the firefighters, they have, and they're posting things on there. The Forest Service, you can call directly to them, which their number is 928-368-2100. They can answer some of those same questions that pertain to their camping areas or their areas that closures, and because not all of the forest is closed, it's just certain areas. The ones that are the most critical and most dangerous is where they close them up. One of the things that we try to do as fire marshals, as these companies come in, because they typically don't show up until about 2 weeks to a week prior to the 4th of July, to set up their tents and whatnot. Well, and some of the stores actually sell fireworks and things. So we have a little sign that we put out, and because that has to be posted by Arizona state law, that where can you set them off, where can you not set them off. That it gives a little bit of description. Now, granted, not everybody reads those signs as they're buying all this stuff, but we're making an attempt. Hopefully, I'm going to be working with a gentleman, Eric Neitzel. He has a little advertising company that you may have started seeing these TVs popping up that show ads and stuff, and he's going to possibly display some of this information for us. And we're looking at all different kinds of avenues. All the flashing signs on the roadway talking about stage 2 restrictions. We'll probably have something on there about no fireworks, and as this time so we'll get some PSAs out on the radios. We do as much as we can to advertise that, if we're still in in restrictions, then don't set off fireworks. If we get out of that and we start getting lots of rain and we lift the restrictions, well, yeah, now in certain areas of the county, yeah, that's going to be okay. And if you're going to use these consumer fireworks, make sure, one, you've read the instructions, make sure the proper ones that you can actually have here in Arizona, and enjoy them, but do it safely. Don't let your kids get near them, and don't let, follow those directions. I know it's tough for guys to read those directions, but hey.
Well, and make sure that you know which area you're in, because like you said, was it Pine Top, Lakeside, and
the lines up there are just crazy.
But no fireworks ever.
Within the town and the city of Show Low, those two areas, they have banned the use of fireworks forever.
Oh, yeah.
There's not any time that you can use them within the town or city limits. So if you're within there, those officers that respond to those areas, they will fine you.
And then, so you got to understand where you're residing at, what jurisdiction you're living in. So
where you're visiting. Yeah,
where you're visiting. A lot of folks don't understand that a lot of Pine Top Lakeside is in the unincorporated areas of Navajo County, and it's our jurisdiction to respond and take care of those situations there. A lot of people will think, well, I live in the city limits of Show Low, for instance, Ellsworth Heights. That's in the city limits of Show Low. That's in the county's jurisdiction. Ranchero Trailer Park, which is right across from Tractor Supplies. That little trailer park is in the unincorporated area of Navajo County. Navajo County will respond to that.
They need to know where they live.
You need to know where you live and what is allowed and what isn't. So.
Okay, and then lastly, I just want to touch on this one more time, just to help the fire departments and the sheriff's office. If there is going to be fireworks and it is approved for the the Show Low to light off their fireworks or Heber to light off their fireworks, they can find that information out through social media pretty easily on 311, going to any of the fire websites. They don't have to overload the station. I mean, I took 76 calls, just one person one year, so, and that's not what the other people took. So I just want to
Yeah, and the radio stations will be playing it. So yeah, even if you may be using iPhone or iPad or whatever technology to get nice clear music, turn on the radio for a little bit. They'll be advertising that kind of stuff, and they do a good job helping us out with getting that word out.
Go to the websites of the cities or the
county.
Heber River Guard.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, you guys, thank you so much for coming on here and educating everyone about fireworks today.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. And we'll have you, of course, on here next time.
Hope everybody has a safe
Yeah.
4th. Enjoy
Yes.
it.
That's me
Thanks.
too. Thank you. Bye. See, how was that? That was pretty good.
Yeah.
A little bit better. Do we?
They can keep all this stuff if they
Oh,
want to use.
I have to say goodbye to the camera.
Oh,
Okay. I don't care about them. Okay. Thank you for watching. Just kidding.
yeah, I haven't.
Thank you for watching Safe and Sound, and we'll see you next week. Next week? How about next month?
Now you got to do it again.
It does. Let me try it again. You want me to try it? Okay. Thank you for watching Safe and Sound, and we'll see you next month. This episode of Safe and Sound was sponsored by Ladies Day, LLC.